What's going on, y'all? Thank you for checking in with Callie. Please subscribe if you haven't already. So, you know what it is. You know where we are. The playoffs is basically here. But as for the Clippers, tonight's game, the next two games, which is the Kings and the Warriors, are must-win games for the Clippers, really. Because only way the Clippers really would, secure a spot in the playoffs specifically is if the Timberwolves, the Memphis Grizzlies, and the Warriors all lost a game. That way, the Clippers will at least be the sixth seed at the bare minimum. Or if they all lost, they probably stay at the fifth seed, more than likely. But it's a must-win for the Clippers, honestly. Tonight is probably the biggest. Tonight and against the Warriors, the two biggest must-wins the Clippers need to have. And that Warriors game is going to be like fireworks, probably. This game is probably going to have some indication, too, because the Kings definitely, probably want to play spoiler. But the Warriors game is going to be fireworks because the Warriors are going to be fighting for their playoff lives, especially if they lose another game themselves. And the Clippers are the fifth seed, but it's so tight because it's like half a game between the fifth seed and the eighth seed. So it's a tight race. It really is. And bad for the Clippers, or the bad thing for the Clippers is they, against the Timberwolves, they're like 1-2 against the Timberwolves. And against the Nuggets, they're like 1-2 against the Nuggets. So the Nuggets are probably going to stay where they are more than likely, unless they just have a downslide, themselves the last two games. But with the Clippers being behind the Timberwolves, that makes a lot of difference because the Timberwolves beat the Grizzlies last night. So that gave them, more momentum going forward. And with them being in the forefront of the Clippers due to the regular season matchups that they won against the Clippers, if the Clippers slip, the Wolves take their position. So it's like you really can't slip at all. You just can't. You have to find a way to win both of these games to really secure your spot. So, Kawhi's going to have to play. Everybody's going to have to play. Everybody's going to have to be in tune. Everybody's going to have to give it their all because these last couple games of the season, you're going to get the best out of everybody, really, because everybody wants to go in the season with a bang and end the season with some momentum going into the play-in tournament and or the playoffs. So even the Kings is probably going to give them a hell of a run more than what they might even imagine. And if the game is like it was the last time they played the Kings, that was a pretty much a thriller type game. Really, it was. So, the Clippers got to, them being the road team, they got to go in there and just play their hearts out, once again and do it a day or two from now and playing against the Warriors. You got to. Because the Clippers need that playoff spot more than anybody because you have a superstar in Kawhi Leonard that has been so injury prone. You can't take no chances going into the play-in tournament without him having a little bit of rest to try to ramp it up before the playoffs start. So, or at least you don't want to take that chance if you don't have to. So, I think the Clippers know what needs to be done. I think they know primarily what the situation is. They know they need to win out. And like I said, unless all three of those teams I named lose or 2 out of 3 loses, which the 2 out of 3 they really need to lose, of course, would be the Timberwolves and the Warriors, more so even than Memphis, because I believe they do actually have the tiebreaker over Memphis. But they need the Warriors and the Timberwolves to lose at least one of the next 2 games. They definitely need that. And if the Warriors and Timberwolves win both, well, that means the Clippers got to win both. But, to eliminate all doubt, you win the both games yourself and you're in the playoffs. You don't really have to worry about what they're doing or how it shapes up for them. You did your part. Everything else will fall into place. And that's just pretty much what the Clippers have to look at it as. And they got to take these games very seriously, even more so than any game they played this season. Because this time of the season here is so right at the playoffs. You're going to get the best of every team that you play. They're going to play you harder than they ever did. They're going to be more physical than they ever did, almost like it is the playoffs now. So for the Clippers' sake, they got to have everybody on the floor. They got to get a good outing by Kawhi, which I believe they will. James Harden has to be, James Harden. Don't turn the ball over too much. Zoo has to be Zoo. Norm Powell has to chip in. And Ty Lue has to just coach these guys and put them in the best position possible to win these games. Because, like I said, going into the play-in tournament, your chances are good going into the play-in tournament because I think the Clippers could beat anybody there. But at the same time, you don't want to put yourself in that position, and you need to have Kawhi get that rest. You really do. Because, honestly, this is probably the last season that, Kawhi probably would be on the Clippers if another injury-riddled playoffs happen for him again. It probably will. So it's like you want at least – I don't think this will be the last year for Kawhi. If everything goes well in the playoffs. Even if the Clippers lose in the playoffs, right, but Kawhi is healthy the whole playoff run that they do have, that's going to make a difference. That's going to probably make him want to actually stay also and not feel like he's jinxed or something like that or cursed or something or whatever the case may be. And, it's going to give the Clippers confidence that their superstar was able to hold up in the playoffs when they needed him the most. They just didn't make it to the next round or something like that. Or hopefully if he does stay healthy, they go all the way. But I'm just saying, you want to at least have that confidence that he can at least stay healthy enough to at least give you that opportunity. So, a lot is riding on Kawhi. A lot is riding on this team. And honestly, this team's been flying under the radar very well. As dangerous as they've looked these last 2-3 weeks, it's going to be tough for anybody to really want to see them in a 7-game series. And honestly, I think they match up with every team well in the West. I think they have an advantage over every team in the West in some area. Either the size with Zubac in the paint, holding down the paint, being able to score at will, score collectively, or the Clippers have the better superstar on the floor, which is Kawhi Leonard, and or the Clippers might actually have the best point guard between any matchup in the Western Conference in James Harden when he's on his A game. And they might have the best secret weapon scorer on any team in the Western Conference in Norman Powell. So, when you look at that, and on top of that, the perimeter defense and all the things they have to throw at you, that's what makes them so dangerous. And hopefully they can carry that into the night with the momentum of that, knowing that they're the better team and they got to do what they got to do and carry it into the Warriors game as well and, find themselves into the playoffs.